Sometimes warmth just disappears without warning as a consequence of major incidents, epidemics, and armed conflicts. What to do if there's no heating? If the power goes out and the house turns into an ice-cold box? Today you'll learn how to warm your home without radiators, without panic, and without expensive devices. How to use everything, from old rural tricks to modern solutions. We'll explore how to retain every degree of warmth, how to warm yourself, and how to turn an ordinary room into a cozy refuge even when it's freezing outside. This is not theory. These are real methods that work in the city, in the countryside, and even where warmth has long been turned off. Today you'll learn how to make use of every degree, how to turn an ordinary apartment into a warm refuge without heating. Let's start with the simplest. What you can do right now. The first thing you need to do: stop the heat from leaking. While you're heating the air, it quietly escapes through windows, cracks, and doors. Start with the windows. Seal the gaps with painter's tape or paper. If you have plastic wrap, stretch it over the frame. It will create an air layer and retain a few degrees of warmth. Second, curtains. Thick, dense ones, or even a blanket. Cover the windows completely. Especially at night, it helps more than it seems. Third, the doors. Every gap lets out heat, so hang a blanket or throw in the doorway. Create a room within a room inside your apartment. Smaller space, easier to warm up. Floor. It draws cold the most. Lay down a carpet, cardboard, or an old blanket. Even a layer of paper reduces heat loss. If the radiators are even slightly warm, place a reflector behind them. Ordinary foil or foil insulation. It will return heat to the room. Close the ventilation shafts, but allow fresh air through a window once an hour. This way, you won't suffocate or cool down the dwelling. And lastly, keep the doors between rooms closed. Heat loves silence and enclosed spaces. Sometimes it's impossible to heat a room, but you can warm yourself, and often that's more effective. Clothing is the main heater. Wear everything in layers. Thin layer, thermal underwear or a simple cotton t-shirt. Middle layer, insulating. Outer layer, dense, airproof. Warm air remains between the layers, and that's your shield. Socks are a must. Better to wear 2 pairs, cotton underneath, wool on top. Heat escapes through your feet faster than you think. And yes, wearing a hat at home is not shameful. Up to 30% of heat escapes through the head. Warm up your bed. Before sleep, place a plastic bottle with hot water in your bed. It will retain heat for several hours. You can use a hot water bottle or a pouch of salt heated on a pan. Don't sit still. Every 15 minutes, get up, move around, take a few steps. Blood is the best heat carrier. Eat hot food. Soup, porridge, tea with honey, anything that warms from the inside. And don't drink alcohol. It gives a false sense of warmth. And after 10 minutes, you'll feel even colder. If you have pets, don't kick them out of bed. A cat or dog provides an amazing amount of warmth. And it's no joke, this was done even on the front lines. If you have electricity, you already have an advantage. The main thing is to use it wisely. First, heaters. An oil radiator is warm but takes a long time to heat up. A convector is faster but dries the air. An infrared panel is the most economical. It heats objects around rather than the air. Don't turn everything on at once. Place a heater in one room. Close the door and heat only that space. This way, you'll get maximum warmth with minimal expenses. Second, an electric blanket or mat. Consumes several times less than a heater. And heats specifically and effectively. Especially at night. If there's no gas but you have a stove, use the oven for short-term heating. Heat up food, leave the door slightly open. Just don't leave it unattended. The gas stove also helps. But turn on the burner for a maximum of 10 to 15 minutes. And make sure to open the window. Without ventilation, you can get carbon monoxide poisoning. If there is no electricity, use candles or gel burners. They provide not only light, but also a bit of warmth, especially in a small room. And also, modern indoor tents. Yes, it sounds strange, but they retain heat around the body and save energy. Even a regular tent in a room can raise the temperature by several degrees. When there's no electricity or gas, old, reliable methods come into play. The most well-known is the heated brick. Place the brick in the oven or on the stove. Let it heat up. Then wrap it in an old towel and place it next to the bed. It releases heat slowly for hours. Another option is a pot of boiling water. Place it on a stool in the center of the room and cover it with an upside-down bucket or pot. Warm steam rises and makes the air softer. If you have candles, make a simple stove. Take a metal can, place 3 to 4 candles inside, and cover it with a ceramic pot. It will heat up and emit warmth like a mini fireplace. An old camping method is warm pouches. Fill fabric with rice, salt, or grains, heated on a pan or radiator, and place it at your feet or under a blanket. If the cold is unbearable, gather heat in a small space. Hang blankets around the bed or sofa. This will create a thermal cocoon. Inside, the temperature will rise by a few degrees even without heating. And remember, the less air around, the easier it is to warm it up. If the heating hasn't returned, switch to survival mode. Firstly, choose one room. Live there, sleep there, eat there. Don't disperse heat throughout the entire apartment. Keep other doors closed. Move your sleeping area closer to an interior wall. Don't sleep by the window, it's always colder there. Place a rug or cardboard under the bed to prevent cold from coming up from below. Secondly, consider humidity. Dry air feels warmer, but it cools the skin faster. Place a bowl of water near the heat source. This will soften the air and make breathing easier. Cook food more often, but in small amounts. Every time the kettle or soup boils, you raise the temperature in the room. Conserve energy. Turn off everything unnecessary. Leave only the light and heating where you are. If possible, insulate yourself psychologically. Yes, exactly. Candles, soft lighting, calm music. The brain responds to coziness, and the feeling of warmth becomes stronger. And most importantly, don't lie still. Get up once an hour, move your arms, take a few steps. Movement is your internal heater. Now you know everything you need. Warmth is not about radiators or pipes. It's a system, and you can build it yourself. A little knowledge, a little action, and you can live even without heating in the house. Warmth starts not with devices, but with the mind. Those who don't panic find a way out of any situation. You already know how to retain warmth. Create it from available materials. Dress appropriately, and make the most of every source. Even simple steps. Curtains, rugs, kettle, candles. Yield results. 1 degree at a time. But it's these degrees that make all the difference. When cold breaks down walls, reason and calm become your heaters.